Coming up next on Making Moves, I sit down with JTA Chief Executive Officer Nat Ford to discuss taking over the Mayport Ferry, trading in diesel fuel buses for ones that run on compressed natural gas, and the future of the Skyway. We'll hear about a new JTA program aimed at helping the underemployed get some work on the agency's Mobility Works project. And we'll also look at the future possibilities for the landing. Plus, awards continue to roll in for the JTA. I'm Donna Deegan. These stories and more right now on Making Moves. Hello and welcome to the Season 8 premiere of Making Moves. I'm Donna Deegan. Rising to the level of Chief Executive Officer requires many attributes: business skills, intuition, drive, a vision for the future, and more. Although each CEO is different, you will find many have similar leadership qualities, but only the best can be considered the ultimate CEO. And so it is for Nat Ford, the Chief Executive Officer of the JTA. The Jacksonville Business Journal named Ford one of Jacksonville's best, an ultimate CEO, in its annual leadership review. The Business Journal honors those who set the standard amongst local executives, including civic leadership and charitable involvement. I recently sat down with Ford to talk about winning the Ultimate CEO Award and to get an update on several major JTA projects. All right, Nat, great to see you again.
Good to see you, Donna.
Thanks for being here for our Season 8 premiere. Can you believe our Season 8 premiere?
It's amazing. Time has flown, a lot of shows and a lot of information to our customers.
Well, and I'll tell you what, you have had quite the year. You've just been named Ultimate CEO. That's sort of like being named king, I would think.
Not exactly, but
what's your thoughts on that?
It's clearly an honor. I mean, I'm humbled by the receiving this award, but it's a testimony to the fine individuals I work with every day, from our board of directors to our bus operators, everyone in between, doing a fine job, and I guess it has led itself to this recognition.
Well, a lot of recognition this year, which we'll talk about coming up, but this is your third CEO position.
Yes.
I'd love for you to share a little bit about your experience in that leadership role. You've obviously had a lot of leadership experience. Each job obviously is different. What was your mindset coming into JTA, and how's it been different from the other CEO positions that you've held?
Oh, well, vastly different. The JTA is a different organization, a different community, and one size doesn't fit all. However, a lot of those experiences from Atlanta and running the San Francisco system has helped me kind of develop the skill set that I brought and mindset that I brought to the JTA. Jacksonville is a very interesting community. It's on the verge of doing some really great and fantastic things. And I came to this job excited about being part of that community, taking it to the next level, so to speak. And my role with the JTA, helping prepare it for that new future of Jacksonville. Well,
in a way, you've got to come into a community where the mindset isn't automatically toward mass transit.
Jacksonville and Duval County is a very unique community, and the opportunity to come in as a CEO with my experience from San Francisco and my experience from Atlanta, to come to this community and bring those experiences and put together a leadership team that will help Jacksonville take it to the next level. It's a great city, great community, but mass transit, clearly, public transit is important for cities in our generation to move forward and have economic vitality and have a workforce that's very diverse and able to move around, and helping people get to the doctor and helping them get to their education and diversifying the way that they can travel to get to those their needs and take care of their needs. So.
Well, you've had obviously great success so far, and I have to, really bring up some of these accolades you've received over the last 12 months. It's pretty amazing, the awards that have come in. Besides the Ultimate CEO Award, let me just read a few of these. You were also recognized with the Multicultural Award, a National Safety Award, a National Award for Making Moves, a Business Technology Award. Those are just a few. If I went through the whole list, we wouldn't have time today, so that's quite a haul.
Yes.
It's been a short amount of time. What do you attribute this success to?
Clearly, I think the vision created by this board, the latitude that they've given me as a CEO to assemble what I believe is the top transportation group in this nation. I've been able to work with the board in identifying individuals that bring a lot of different perspectives to what we do, not just from a gender basis, not from a racial basis, really from just a diversity of background and experiences. This team of individuals has representatives from transit systems, transportation organizations from around the country. We also have private sector folks who came and joined the JTA and came over to the government side and authority and are working with us. And we have individuals who have no transportation background whatsoever. And so all of those different skill sets and backgrounds and perspectives have led us to some success.
Well, a lot of success. And I know you have a lot going on right now. I want to zero in on a couple of things that are happening at the moment because we've been talking a lot about them. Let's start with the compressed natural gas buses. What made you decide to go with CNG?
Well, it was clear with the launch of the North Line, First Coast Flyer bus rapid transit line, that we were going to need to purchase some new buses and add to our fleet. The question was, continuing with diesel fuel was not really the most, I would say, progressive strategy. So we had to take a look at other technologies. We looked at electric buses, and we examined that technology. We looked at CNG buses. That is pretty common now across the nation in terms of compressed natural gas. And then we also looked at hydrogen fuel cell buses, which is much more on the cutting edge in terms of technology for bus fleets. And with the timing of the new purchase for buses for the North Line, we wanted to make sure that we made a decision that was prudent from a fuel cost standpoint, from a stability, quality of service standpoint in terms of reliability of the fleet, that we weren't testing out something that would be somewhat controversial or not being mature enough in terms of its technology and leading to breakdowns and things of that nature. So we felt that CNG was the most prudent step for the JTA. And then to do it with a public-private partnership was really the creative touch to that, making sure that we were able to do it fast enough to have it build a fueling station fast enough to have it prepared for December 7th.
I know that's really a big key right now, public-private partnerships. When is the public going to see the first of these CNG buses?
Oh, December 7th with the launch of the North Line First Coast Flyer. And we're really excited about that. The buses are on order and they're being manufactured and will be coming across the country. We're actually purchasing them from a company in California and they will be delivered in time for December 7th.
Well, that's exciting. We'll look forward to seeing that. So one of your key Blueprint 2020 initiatives is Mobility Works. There are 13 construction projects, 14 mobility corridor improvement projects, and some of these projects were revived from way back with the Better Jacksonville plan. They're undergoing some additional updating for permits and things like that, but I understand JTA has begun work on the first of the construction projects. So could you tell us what projects are now underway?
Yes, so right now St. Augustine Road is underway, so we're breaking ground on that. The Sutel Transit Hub is, we're breaking ground on that project. So recently our board has moved forward with awarding contracts to make that happen. We're still in negotiations regarding Gervin Road, but I do believe in a couple of weeks we should have that resolved and that project will be moving forward. But also a subset of the Mobility Works projects was the mobility corridors, where we were going into corridors that have not had adequate amount of transportation investment over years. And so we're going into these corridors and putting in sidewalks, bike lanes, improving the bus pull-ins, pull-outs, the bus stops, as well as making improvements to the roadway so that pedestrians are able to cross more safely, along with landscaping and a whole host of accoutrements to make sure that whatever mode you're traveling in these corridors, it's as smooth and as efficient and the quality is of a high standard.
Well, obviously you'd like to see all of that happen at the one time, but there's always money involved. So how are we paying for all this? A little over a year ago, the City Council approved the extension of our gas tax for another 20 years from 2016 to 2036. And part of that arrangement in terms of City Council's support for the JTA was that the JTA would go and issue its first ever
revenue bonds, issued by the JTA. And we issued $100 million in road bonds that are targeted towards these road projects, and we are well on our way and paying the bills through that funding.
Well, it's neat to see people recognize all that happening. I want to talk a little bit also about the Skyway.
Yes.
We ran a story on the show recently about Skyway ridership almost certainly surpassing 1.3 million people this year. And obviously some of the increase, and increased something like nearly 3 times the ridership of 5 years ago. I know part of that is because it's now free, but that can't be everything. What do you attribute the fact that people are taking that?
Actually, it's been fare free nearly 4 years now. So this ridership increase we're seeing is not because it's free. I mean, there was that initial surge in the very beginning. But what we're seeing is a significant increase in economic activity downtown. And so that's going to create some ridership and additional customers using the Skyway. Also, with the recent route optimization that we did last December, we made the Skyway an integral part of the operation of the transportation or the transit network. And so it's not a standalone Skyway as it had been for quite some time. We actually had our JTA bus service actually competing with the Skyway in a lot of instances. But now it's part of a more holistic network, and people are finding it easy to use, and they're staying with us. Also, it helps to have events downtown like One Spark and things of that nature that give people their first opportunity to use the Skyway, and then once they get familiar with it, they actually stay. So we're on a pace to break last year's record, and we expect, as we are seeing throughout our system, this ridership growth for this Skyway to actually benefit from it also.
Well, you think with all of this, and you hear about all these things and so many more people using it, that this Skyway would be assured for years to come, but there's still some uncertainty there. Why is that? Yes,
the Skyway has had its detractors over the years, and legitimately so in some cases, in terms of the lack of ridership with the Skyway. And there's a long list of possible reasons why that occurred, and the surge in ridership or the ridership utilization that we would see, that we would deem appropriate or suitable, did not occur. But the Skyway is now over 25 years of age. It's showing signs of that aging, particularly in the rolling stock, the vehicles. They're past their useful life, and we're having more and more difficulty keeping them up and running at this juncture. The actual aerial structure that the Skyway operates on, that's in pretty good shape, and early indications in terms of our assessment that it could last another almost close to 50 years with proper maintenance and care. The challenge is the investment in new vehicles, either rehabilitating or repairing the vehicles we have now with an overhaul or replacing the existing vehicles, comes with a very hefty price tag. And we want to make sure that before we make that investment, that this community, the downtown revitalization, all of those things are coming together at the same time. The shipyard development, our regional transportation center, all of these activities have to occur, and we want to make sure they occur to substantiate or justify the major investment that JTA would have to make in the Skyway. If that is not to happen, then we also need to look at all other alternatives. And in looking at those other alternatives, we've looked at decommissioning the Skyway and possibly replacing it with either buses, streetcars, something totally different. Because we still have a transportation need, maybe it's not just the Skyway. And then also decommissioning it and repurposing it as a aerial bikeway or walkway, or aerial park for that matter. So we're looking at all of those options. The chairman of our board, Scott McCaleb, has appointed Vice Chairman Isaiah Rumlin to serve as the chair of a blue ribbon panel. On that blue ribbon panel, we'll, in terms of the leadership on the JTA board, we'll have Kevin Hosendorf, our secretary, as well as Ari Jolly, a new addition to the JTA board, and they will have a team, and we're checking off the boxes, checking off the names now, a very diverse team of downtown stakeholders to help them help us walk through this decision-making process. We hope to have a decision by December 10th. At the JTA's board meeting.
So do you have any preliminary feedback on this so far, or we're
well,
still
it's a lot of differing opinions, and I think when we go through this process and make sure we get all of the pertinent facts to these stakeholders, to this Blue Ribbon Commission in terms of ridership and costs, and the actual downtown activity in terms of planning activities and development activities. I forgot to mention Healthy Town, that development. So with all of these developments happening in and around our Skyway stations, maybe the future of Skyway is much brighter than it's been in the past.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it. So I want to talk also about the Greyhound terminal, because we've heard a lot of back and forth about that. Where do things stand now on the Greyhound terminal?
Well, I'm happy to say at our last board meeting, at our August board meeting, the JTA board approved a revised lease with Greyhound, which basically seals the deal. Greyhound will be relocating over to the Regional Transportation Center by the Convention Center Skyway Station, right by the Prime Osborne. We will also, in tandem with the relocation of Greyhound, be building our regional intermodal facility, which will house First Coast Flyer. It will have our regular, JTA bus service. It will connect with Greyhound, obviously, Red Coach, and Megabus, and the Skyway. So with these types of activities underway and just imminently within the next few years being built and planned, built, we need to think about the future of downtown and what the Skyway may mean to it.
And since you mentioned it, what about the new transit center that JTA wants to build?
Well, the new transit center that JTA wants to build, we are working with our board through a process that we believe will build an iconic structure for Jacksonville. The administrative building that we are building, along with the transfer facility for First Coast Flyer and our regular fixed route bus service, it's going to be a hub, and it's going to be something that we believe we should be very proud of. We hope the community will be very proud of, definitely our riders. So part of the process will be a design competition, a very public competition to examine designs to build this iconic structure and this iconic facility for the citizens of Jacksonville. We want something that our entire community could be very proud of, and that will last long after all of us have moved on. And it's something that we can look back and reflect on and feel very proud that we were part of.
All right, one last thing before we let you go.
Yes.
I want to talk about the Mayport Ferry. Now, I know that it was originally planned for JTA to take over the ferry this month, but there was some disagreement over capital costs and some changes in the timeline. So what's the latest on the ferry?
Anyone who's owned a boat actually knows that there is a lot of capital cost involved with owning a boat. And with that, we wanted to make sure that the JTA and the city, we did our due diligence, so we knew exactly what was the need in terms of investment in the boat to make sure it's seaworthy. That was a lengthy process, and I think it benefited both sides to truly understand what was being transferred to the JTA, and for the JTA board and the staff to ensure that we had the financial capabilities to fix the boat and manage the boat and its infrastructure. We banked on and planned on using a great deal of state funding to actually cover these costs, and unfortunately we found out earlier this summer that was not going to be an opportunity for the JTA and the city to utilize state funding. So with that, we had to go back and work a little bit harder. I do believe we have a plan to move forward, and we have now targeted a March 2016 timeframe for that transfer. In the meantime, we'll work hard to find grants and find funding so that we have a safe, seaworthy operation.
But that transfer will in fact be occurring?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
that is going to occur. We just have to do our homework.
Just so much going on. I don't really honestly know how you keep track of it all, but really what a wonderful year. Yeah. All the changes, the new projects, the initiatives. Fun to go over all of it with you. And as always, Nat, great to see you. Good luck with everything that's going on.
Great to see you too, Donna. Thank you for the opportunity.
How do you replace one of Jacksonville's most iconic structures? That's exactly what the city is trying to decide. Up next, Bill Milnes takes a look at preliminary designs to replace the landing. Then later, would you be willing to pay more at the gas pump to pay for new transportation services? We'll tell you what a new survey says.
Even though we've teamed up with the Jaguars, we're not just going to be cheerleaders.
I don't see any way where the Jaguars don't go undefeated.
You can still expect the same hard-hitting, unbiased opinions. We're not expecting any special favors from the Jaguars.
For the hometown team, I don't just see one Super Bowl, not one, not two, not three, not four.
So to keep our listeners' trust, we have to walk that fine line. And you can count on us.
The best place to be on game day is Everbank Field, watching your hometown Jaguars. And the best way to get to the stadium is on the JTA Stadium Shuttle. The Stadium Shuttle operates 2 hours before kickoff and 1 hour after the game.
We've been doing this for 8-9 years now. We love it because it beats all the traffic. We get in and we get out. It's nice and cool.
It's convenient. I don't have to worry about parking down near the stadium and being in that crowd and the rush. And it's a little bit more congested down there. It's just, hop on the bus, hop on the shuttle, and you get back to your vehicle and you get pulled straight out.
All JTA shuttles are wheelchair accessible. JTA connection vans are available at convention center lots. Single game tickets start at just $7. Tickets are available online at jtafla.com or the customer service center downtown at the corner of Forsyth and Hogan. You can also purchase a ticket at any JTA Stadium Shuttle lot. The Stadium Shuttle is brought to you by JTA and 1010XL, the official radio station of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Go Jay!
My late friend James Gandolfini and I got to know a lot of combat vets over the years when we were in Iraq and in Afghanistan. And it guts me to know that 22 of you are taking your own lives every day. Yeah, I play tough guys in the movies, but you are the real tough guys. And the toughest thing to do sometimes is look for help. I want you to know, reaching out is an act of strength. And our friends at Wounded Warrior Project are here to help. You don't have to go it alone.
Imagine taking a gondola ride through the canals in Venice, experiencing the breathtaking magnificence of the Eiffel Tower, or riding a legendary double-decker bus through the streets of London. For most of us, these are just dreams that will never come true, but they could. Think about saving hundreds, even thousands of dollars a year by doing one simple thing: parking your car and taking JTA instead. Save money, ride JTA, and make your dreams a reality.
Welcome back to Making Moves. The JTA is getting a $200,000 federal grant to help create job opportunities for the unemployed and underemployed on the authority's Mobility Works initiative. The authority is matching the federal grant with another $200,000. The program, called Back to Work, has two components: workforce development and business development. JTA Mobility Works features 13 roadway and 14 mobility corridor projects totaling more than $100 million. Construction work on the first of two of those projects at the intersection of Greenland and Old St. Augustine Roads in Mandarin, and a new transit hub on Sutel Drive across from Bob Hayes Park on the north side are ready to begin. 71% of U.S. residents would support a 10-cent increase in the 18.4 cents per gallon gas tax that's used to pay for federal transportation projects. That, according to a new poll released last month. The survey, conducted by San Jose, California-based Mineta Transportation Institute, comes as lawmakers are facing an October 29th deadline for renewing federal infrastructure spending. The group behind the study says the survey results show a majority of Americans would support higher taxes for transportation under certain conditions. According to the survey, support for increasing the gas tax to 28 cents per gallon drops to 31% if the money is used to maintain and improve the transportation system instead of improve road maintenance. The gas tax has been used to pay for road and transit projects since the 1930s, but the levy has not been increased since 1993. In recent years, transportation expenses are outpacing gas tax receipts by about $16 billion annually as construction costs have risen and cars have become more fuel efficient. The Jacksonville Landing is about as iconic as it gets when it comes to the First Coast. People from across the country and around the globe have seen that orange roof and horseshoe-shaped structure along the St. Johns River in person and on TV for decades now. But there is a plan in the works that could change the landing, and with it, downtown forever. Here's Making Moves' Bill Milnes with more on how the Jacksonville skyline may be changing.
The Jacksonville skyline isn't as massive as New York City or as impressive as Pittsburgh, but it certainly is distinctive with the waterfront, the Wells Fargo building, and of course the landing. But after 26 years, the landing, far removed from whatever heyday it once had, needs a serious makeover. Downtown residents like Dimitri Demopoulos are excited about the prospect of something new.
And, you know, over the past several years, the landing is not the most appealing place to be. For a lot of people that live downtown, we tend to sort of go other places. So the thought of it actually being reconceived, reimagined, so in a way that might make it a little bit more fun for people to come and hang and actually eat and enjoy the river a lot more, that's a pretty big deal for us.
With a rather underwhelming reception to the initial design of what a new landing might be, a new design team took over, and the call went out to the public to get their ideas. One recurring theme, whatever the final design, keeps some of the iconic nature of the current structure in some way.
Actually, I like it. I just wish that they would keep the landing image there so that you still see the iconic representation of the landing, so it doesn't look like a generic apartment area, something that makes it look like the landing, even if it's just orange rooftops or something. That's the only thing I think it's missing.
While this new design proposal completely eliminates the current landing style, it does offer some new design choices that many have asked for, like opening up Laura Street to the river.
I love the green area here for kids and concerts and activities, and there's a little kids play area. And having apartments or places to live here is also key because it brings people to the core of downtown. You know, young professionals who want to live close to where they work will choose to live here, and they'll shop here, and it'll bring more of a central density to downtown.
Doris Goldstein of the Downtown Investment Authority Board of Directors says the current design effort is aimed at creating a new development that will be economically successful and also be a night and day gathering spot for downtown. Meanwhile, the new Curry administration has not set aside any monies in its fiscal year 2016 budget for redevelopment of the landing. In downtown, Bill Milnes, JTA, Making Moves.
Each year, the Jacksonville Business Journal honors the women who have made the biggest difference in Jacksonville, using their skills and talents to create change, lead businesses, and make a difference. Past honorees have included former JTA Chairwoman Ava Parker. This year, Ari Jolly, Assistant General Counsel for Florida Blue and the newest member of the JTA Board of Directors, has been named one of Jacksonville's Women of Influence.
This is lovely. Thank you so much. My nomination came from the Jacksonville Transportation Authority management team, a group that I work with quite often. I have the utmost respect and admiration for, and I am honored by your nomination and the award by the Jacksonville Business Journal.
All of the Women of Influence winners were honored at a special luncheon at the Hyatt Regency downtown. And of course, we here at Making Moves send our congratulations to Mrs. Jolly on her very well-deserved honor. And that wraps up this edition of Making Moves. Thanks for taking some time to join us. And don't forget to check out our latest podcast on our website, jtafla.com. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/JTA Making Moves. For all of us here at Making Moves, I'm Donna Deegan. Take care, everyone.